Hey guys, welcome to a new episode about the control structure and loops in PHP. Here, I have mentioned four types. So, there are various ways to use if statement in PHP. I have just mentioned the four one. Okay. So first, we will go through a if statement. Okay. So just I'm going to delete all the three, and I have mentioned the picture here. Okay, so I will explain here. So first I'll write the condition. Okay, if the condition will be true, then it will check the code and print the statement. However, if the condition will be not true, then it will be obviously it will be false and it will go outside of the code and it will print nothing. Okay, so I'm just going to write a code. So first here I'm using a variable as a num. Okay, here I'm taking the like a value as 100, and I'll use the keyword if, opening and closing bracket, and inside this I'll pass this variable that I have created, num, and here I'll put the condition as a like a greater than 1000. Okay, and after this I'll use the opening and closing curly bracket. Okay, inside this I'll print the statement by using the echo here. So here like I'm going to print $num is not greater than 1000. Okay, saved it. So I'm just going to opening this one and refresh it. I just saved it and going to refresh it. You can see that nothing has been printed because the statement or condition is not true. Okay, and just let me like use the less than and saved it, and here is less than. Okay, saved it 100. So 1000 is greater than 100. So this is a true condition. Going to save it and run it. Okay, so 100 is less than 1000. So now we will see the code for if else. Okay, so here I have mentioned the image. So in the if else, what will happen? First it will check the condition. If it will be true, then code will be executed and it will simply run the statement. However, if it will provide the false, else code will check that and it will print the statement. Okay, going to use a $num equal to 100 here, and then using the if keyword, and after this num is greater than 1000, opening and closing bracket, curly bracket, sorry, and echo statement, and here $num is greater than 1000, and after this I have to just write the else keyword and use the curly bracket or opening and closing with, and here I'll print another statement. Okay, as in the image it will check the conditions. Okay, whatever the we are provide not a condition, that a statement it will execute. Okay, if the else occurs like here if the code is false it will provide the statement. Okay, so here we can see else echo and $num is less than 1000. Okay, so going to save it and going to run it here. So here we can see that 100 is less than 1000, right? Here what is happening here? So 100 is less than, right, because it is not a greater than. But if I'm just changing the condition and saved it and run it, you can see that if the condition has been changed, the statement has automatically changed when running the code. Okay, so this is a use of if else. So now we will learn about the if else if. So here we can see that here I have mentioned image. In this image I have a first condition, then second, then condition n. It could be like multiple condition. So first it will check the condition 1. If it is true, then it will provide the statement 1. For this, the second one, it will check the condition. If it is true, then it will provide the statement 2. If in condition 1, if we have a wrong or false condition, that will check with the condition 2. Also, if it will check the condition for 2 and still it has a false condition, that will check with another conditions. Okay, if we have a true, then it will provide the statement. Okay, so in this, in the last, if the any condition is not true, okay, so it will provide a statement where you can mention this is a something invalid. Okay, so let's see the example for this. So here what I'm going to do, that here I'm going to create a marks result. Okay, so for this I'm just going to using so we are going to make an example of a marks, okay, of 10. Here I'm using a marks as a variable. Inside this I'm just putting like a number 60. Okay, and here I'll use like if. Inside this I'll use the marks, and then less than 35. Okay, and here I'll write the statement. Okay, this is a simple one. This is if statement. Here I'm going to print the statement echo, and if marks is less than 35, obviously it should be fail. You are fail and try next time. Okay, so this is for the if. So now we are going to move to the like for the else if. So here I'm just using the else keyword, then after this space, then if. Okay, here I'm using the opening and closing bracket. I'm going to use the marks as a variable that I've created, and here I'm using operator here. So now we're just going to see the example, and for the operator we will learn more about in our next video. So this is a marks is greater than. Okay, first it should be greater than, and it should be equal also. If might be someone is getting the like the 60, then it should also should be the result for that marks. Okay, equal to like a 30. That should be not a 36. It should be 36. Okay, because it is should be a greater than 35. Okay, so greater than or equal to 35, and I'm going to use AND operator here, and marks is less than 59. Okay, so here I'm going to print the statement here. So echo you have D grade. Okay, so again after this, just let me up my keyword here, and then after this also I can use else if. So here we can see that we can create multiple times condition. Okay, so here I'm going to use else if, and I'm just going to just copy paste. Okay, so this condition should be something. So marks is greater than 36. Okay, so we have 59. Okay, so it should be like a this is should be like a 60. Okay, and greater than that should be like 80. Okay, because we have taken a 59. Also you can start with 59. Okay, this is a less than 80. Okay, here I'm just going to provide the statement here and not here. So first I use two like the curly bracket, and inside this I'll put the statement you have a like a C grade. Okay, and here again I can put a condition else if, and here I'm going to check the conditions, and you have a 81 greater than, and you have a like a 89. Okay, or we can say 90, and here I'm just going to print my statement for B grade. Okay, and here I'll write B grade, and after this I'll make a program over condition for my A grade. Okay, here I'm just going to copy, and after this going to paste, and here is greater than 91 and it should be 100. Okay, then you have received a A grade. Okay, so this is like A grade. Let me caps lock use it. Okay, so what will happen if you will check all the condition? If something is happening like the number that I am entering, that is something might be sometimes we are not providing the input values as a valid, that it should be provide something a result. Okay, so for this in the last I will use only else. Okay, else opening and closing curly bracket, inside this I'm just going to echo the statement here, and here I'll use please use a valid number. Okay, so I'm just going to save it and going to run it. Okay, so going to run it, and we can see that I have a 60 marks. So first it will check the with condition. Okay, this is a not true. Okay, so this is a less than 35, but I have marks is 60. So then it will goes to the here. Okay, it is also not true, but my marks is equal to or greater than 60. So this is equal to, that is a printing C grade. Okay, so you have a C grade. So now let's check the code here. So we have a 60 marks, and first we will check the condition with 35. Okay, so this condition is not meeting this if conditions. Okay, so now we'll move to the else if. Here this is this is a not true condition, but here is a less than, that is a true condition. So this is the reason we have a grade C. Okay, so now I'm changing the value here, and I will take a 88. Okay, and saved it and going to run it, and we can see that we have a brigade. So this is the statement that has been executed. Now I'm going to check the value as a 99 and refresh it, and we can see that as a 99 is also running the perfectly. Okay, so this is the result for this statement. However, I'm going to check something like 100, not 100, 101. Okay, so going to run it after saving it, and we can see that it is showing the please use a valid number, because I have taken only 100 number maximum. Within that I have to check the condition. So if someone is entering the wrong number, that it will show the invalid number. So now guys, we will learn about the nested if. So nested if is just a simple. Okay, so it will just providing a statement inside the if statement. Okay, first it will check the condition inside the if, again it will go to the if inside of if, and will check the condition. If it is true, then it will be provided statement of true whatever we are going to provide. However, first it will check the condition here. If it is going to meet with false, that it will go to the outside and print the statement for the false. Okay, here it is the same for the the condition 2 inside of if condition of if. Okay, so here it is going to check the conditions, it will going to provide if, then it will go to the print the statement for the if. Okay, so here we are going to see the example. Let me zoom out. Okay, zoom out. Okay, this is better now. So here I'm going to create a voting system, a simple voting system. It will not a voting system, just it's going to check the condition for the eligible candidate. Okay, so here I'm just going to age is equal to 2025, and then I'm also write to nationality equal to here Indian. Okay, and here I will write the condition as a if keyword, and here as simple first I will check the condition. Okay, so I'm just going to copy, and nationality is equal to, I'm using the operator here, equal to operator, and then I'll use a double quote as I'm taking as a string. Okay, so here I'm writing Indian, and after this I'll use the opening and closing curly bracket, and also after this I'm going to check the condition if dollar is greater than and equal to 18, okay, then I have to use a echo statement here. Echo here, you are eligible for voting, okay. And here this was for the if else, okay, if statement. First it will check the nationality, it is a true, then it will be goes to the next and it will check the condition. If it will be true, then here if it is going to the false, then what should be here. So here I'll use the using the else, okay, and here echo, and I'll provide the statement for this. Sorry, you are not eligible, okay. Saved it, and I'm going to run it here, and you can see that as my all the condition is matching, then I am going to eligible for vote. So okay, first checking the condition with nationality, it is true, then it goes to the next statement. Okay, here it is checking the condition, it is a true, then it is providing the this one, okay. Here is if I'm entering my age, it is like a 17, going to save date, okay, and let's see the result. Okay, sorry, you are not eligible, okay, because one of the condition after the this condition, if this is a not true, okay, just going to provide this result, okay. So let me change somewhere like Indian, okay, Canadian, okay. So I'm changing the nationality, okay. Here age is like a I'm just putting my like age is it 25, okay. So here I'm going to refresh this, and we can see that first it is not going to be true, like I have one nationality is Indian, but here is a Canadian. So for this, first it is checking this condition, and it is as a not true, then it is just going to the outside and it is printing this statement, okay. So thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our next lecture. Hey guys, welcome back in this video about PHP switch statement. The PHP switch statement is used to execute one statement from multiple conditions. It works like PHP if else if statement. So here we are going to make a program for like permissions, okay. So in this I'm just going to first create a variable as a permission, okay, and here I'm just going to take a value for this, and I'm going to like a create, okay, create, and after this I'll use the switch keyword, okay, switch keyword, and I'll use the parenthesis. Also you can say opening and closing bracket, and after this the curly bracket, opening one closing one, and here this will be better now, okay. So now here let me just correct it. Here I have to put the expression. Expression means whatever that the variable have, we have to just provide the variable at this place, okay, that permissions, okay, and inside the curly bracket we have to use the case, okay, case, and after this you'll use the single quote, okay, and here like we are going to like a all, okay, and here as first it will come to this, okay, this variable is going to first with expression, and after that it will go to check the cases, okay. So this is my first case, and this is like a in the case I have stored the value something, okay. So here, and after this I'm just going to echo the statement here, you are eligible to edit all, okay, and here I have to mention the break, okay. So what will happen, so if I'm mentioning the break, so if the condition will be false, it will break the statement. Okay, it will break, and then it will check to the next case. Okay, so here I have to make another case, and I can create, okay, create, and here I have to print the statement echo you can create the form. Okay, and after this I have to provide the break, and again I'm just going to using the another cases. Okay, so we can use the multiple cases. Okay, so it will work like that, if else if, as I have mentioned. Okay, so this is like the case, third one, and here I'm just going to delete. Okay, delete, and here echo, and echo you can delete the form. Okay, and here just going to break the statement. Okay, I'm going to save it. Okay, and going to run it, and you can see that I have a create. So it is just going to just check with my cases. Okay, so first it will be just check with all. So this is not matching, that it will break the statement, and then it will go to the next case and it will check here, and we can find here as a create. Okay, so in this create we have a statement, we can create the form. So let me zoom in. Okay, we can create the form. Okay, now let me change something. Okay, all, saved it and refresh it. So you are eligible to edit all. Okay, so we have this statement. Okay, now I'm going to change something different. So I am going to like a update. Okay, saved it and run it. So what happens, we have different cases, however we don't have this value. Okay, so this is printing something odd. Okay, like this is a blank page. So for this you'll use a default. Okay, default keyword. So it will work like else. Okay, so if you have don't any specific condition, so it automatically always went to the like a in the else. So it will work like a else. Okay, so I'm just going to else, and here I'll echo the statement echo, and then you have no permission, okay, to for anything. Okay, for anything, saved it, and I'm just going to refresh it. Okay, so what happened, let me just stretch it or zoom out. Yeah, so what happened, so if we not match any with any another cases like case 1, case 2, case 3, so by default it will print this value or statement. Okay, so this is for like guys switch. So we will move to our next lecture. Hey guys, welcome in this video about loops. Okay, so here we are going to learn about the different types of loops. First is a while loop, do while loop, for each loop. Okay, so let me give an example like how that while will and do while and for each will work. Okay, so like I have a echo like a 1. I want to print a number like 1 to 10. Okay, like it will take some time. Okay, like 1 then 2, and even I can like make a copy paste. Okay, and here like I can change it. Okay, like 3, then it should be 4. Okay, what will happen if I want like 1,000 number to print? Okay, so this will be not be possible. Okay, however it will also take a long time if you are going to do that. Okay, so for this we will use our loops. Okay, so here I'm going to make a program. So I'm going to create a variable like a num. Here I'm taking a value as a 1 because I want to print from 1. Okay, after this here I'm using a while keyword. Here I want to pass my condition. Okay, to condition what number I want to print and where I have to stop it and to which number I have to print it. Okay, so here I'm writing like a num is less than, okay, and equal to, it should be equal to like a 20, okay, and less than 20, okay. And after this I'll use opening and curly bracket, and I'm going to echo the statement, and we can see that we are using the only once echo statement here, echo and dollar num, okay, because I have a value inside this, okay, that will check the conditions. I'm going to print the statement, okay, here num, and like a I will use the concatenations, and here's the opening and closing double quotes and break tag, and close the statement. I'm going to save it and run it. Let's see. And we can see that it is a printing only once, and it is printing many times, like it's infinitive, okay. So it's not going to stop it, okay. We can see that it's loading, okay, and sometimes your system will be shut down, okay. So what it's coming, because every time we are printing only once. So in this case we have to increase something, so system will understand this is something we need to print more than one, okay. So here I have to increment with num, okay, num and plus plus, okay. So here what will happen, first it will be come to num1, num1 will check with the condition 20 is less than equal to 1, this is right, okay. So it will go to here and print successfully, okay, first time, and then it will comes again to the while, it will be 2, okay, here it will be 1, then it will be increment with 1, it will go to the here num as it will be 2, then it will check the conditions, this is right, okay, then it will print a 2, okay. So let me just going to save it and refresh it, and you can see that 1 2 3 4 5 6 until 20 we have numbers, okay. Also if I'm going to check that equal to 20, so it should be like a double equal to, okay, and refresh it, okay. So nothing is happened because our conditions should be correct, okay, then it will print only the things, okay, like here less than, saved it, and we can see that it will print till 19 only because it is not equal to 20. So now we, after this we are going to use a do while. Hey guys, welcome back in this video about do while loop. The do while loop is very much similar to the while loop except the condition check. The main difference between the both loops is that while loop checks the condition at the beginning, whereas do while loops checks the condition at the end of the loop. So I'm just going to do the code and it will be clear to you, okay. Here I'm going to create a variable, this should be my number, equal to, I'll take a 1, here I'll use a keyword do and the opening and closing curly bracket. Here I'm going to print something, okay, this, okay, this is, and then here dollar num, okay, and saved it. So what will happen, so after this I'm going to write a while keyword, while, okay, while, and here I will be write the condition, so dollar num is less than equal to 10, okay, I'll use the here and saved it, and I'm going to run it, and we can see that we have multiple one, okay, this is a like a looping the statement till infinity, okay. So after some time the system will be shut down. Why? Because also we have to make the increment of our variable, okay. So as this is our statement, okay, so here I have to increment with my variable plus plus, okay, and saved it and going to run it, okay. let me just clear it, concatenation, and the break tag that I'll use and saved it and going to run it. Okay, so we can see that this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So what happened first in this, first it will be just going to run this, okay, statement by default. Okay, after that it will be check the conditions. Okay, first it will print that. Okay, that will increment. So first this is a 1, so it will going to print the 1, then it will be just going to here and increment with 1. Okay, that will 2, 2 is less than equal to 10, that is a true, that will be goes here and print the statement. Okay, then after this it will increment by 1, then it will be 3 and so on. Okay, so this is our do while loop. So thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our next. Welcome back to a new episode about PHP loops. In PHP loops we are going to learn for loops. So for loops is used to execute the same block of code again and again, and also we can say loops through a block of code a specified number of times. Okay, so for this we are going to write the syntax. Okay, so first I am just simply writing a for, that is a keyword. Okay, and I'll using the parenthesis, and inside this I will write 3 expressions, or also we can say parameters. So first initialization. Okay, I'm writing a syntax here, initialization. Okay, okay, just one minute. Initialization. Okay, that's a good, that is the first one. And then condition. Okay, conditions. And third one, it should be like what we want, increment or decrement, increment, or that we can say decrement. And after this you'll use the open and closing curly bracket. Okay, so this is a way. Okay, so in the initializations we will use to loop counter value. Okay, that will initial value of the for loop is done only once. Okay, so this parameter is just a optional. Okay, now if we'll talk about condition, in this we'll evaluate each iteration value. Okay, the loop continuously execute until the condition is false. If true, the loop's execution continues, otherwise the execution of loops ends. Okay, and here it increments or decrements the value of the variable. Okay, so let's start the code. Okay, so I'm just going to print a number. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this one, and here I'm writing my variable as a dollar, and I'm providing initial value here 1, and I will use the same variable. Okay, because I have started from 1, so it should be increment or decrement, that will depend on the condition for the same variable. Okay, and less than or equal to 10, and then dollar n plus plus. Okay, now I'm just going to simply echo the statements. Okay, here echo, not in the caps locks, I have to write the small one, echo, and here I'll use, because I want print the value of n, whatever the we have condition in this. Okay, so here I'll use the break tag, that will make to our next line. Okay, I'm going to save it and refresh it, and we can see that we have a value 1, 2, 3 and till 10. Okay, so this is a use of for loop. Okay, here we are so welcome to a new episode about the PHP for each loop. Okay, so PHP for each loop is used to traverse the array elements. Okay, so in this video also we are going to use the array and associate array. Actually it works only on array and object. It will issue an error if we will try to use it. Okay, with our variables of different data types. Okay, so in the array, in a single line, this is a way where you can store multiple values in a single variable, okay, by using the array keyword. In the simple term, okay, the for each loop works on the element basis rather than index, okay. It provides an easiest way to iterate the elements of an array, okay. So here I'm going to write a simple code, okay. First, here I'm going to use a variable, okay. Here I'm going to fruit, okay. I'm making a fruit variable. Here I'm going to use array, okay. That is a keyword. Use the parenthesis. I'm going to close this here, and I'll use the double quote, okay, because I'm going to write a string, okay. Here is a mango, then comma, separated value, then apple, then comma, guava, okay, guava, and then here it grabs, okay. And after this I'm going to use the for each. So I'll use the for each keyword here, and inside this I have to write the name, okay, of this variable, because this variable is referring to the all the element that has been stored in this array, okay. So I'm using a copy and that's paste here, and I have to use the dollar, okay. After this I'll use the as, okay, as that will be provide a duplicate name here, a temporary name. So I'll use that also you can write dollar fruits, okay, fruits, okay. And after this you use the opening and curly bracket, and I'll use the echo statement here, and I'll print the duplicate value or the temporary name, okay. And here I'll use the echo statement also. So my next element or variable of value will save to the next line. I'm going to save it and run it, okay. We can see that it is a printing, okay, mango, apple, guava, grapes, okay. So what will happen if I'm going to use the same name, okay, that will be same. Just going to copy and paste and saved it and going to run it, okay. So here undefined variable, because it will ask to undefined variable, because here let me just wait, then save it, and here, okay. So it doesn't matter whatever we are going to provide a duplicate name or else, okay. Here I'm going to use the associate array, okay. So this is a way, okay, that will be works on the element, okay, basic rather than index, okay. Because here what I'm going to do that, here I'm just going to use my key and element. The key that I have to provide a name, the value that is I'm going to provide like name Rajiv, okay. And after this I'm going to provide another value of mine. Here I'm using the comma, separated value, and here is greater than, it's not get equal to, greater than, and here associate array, that is we have using here, and here is like a 29, and I have to use the comma, then gender, okay, and then it should be age should be like a in integer, okay, 29, okay. And here is a male, okay. And I am providing another detail, email, okay, email, okay, email that should be associated with the value, okay. Here I have to use the column, comma, not a column, and here take Razio, okay, that should be take Razio. This is not totally correct email address, so I'm just using for my reference code, okay. Here now what I'm going to do, that just going to like delete all these, okay. So this is a value in my array, okay. So this is a creating like associate array here, okay, key then value, okay. Here I'm using for each. Okay, so what will happen here, I'm going to associate array element through my each loop. Okay, so here I'm going to like here I'm using the fruit that as a, I'm going to use the keyword as. Okay, and then here I'm going to use a key. Okay, that will be a key. Okay, the key, and that will associate to equal to that is will associate to like that should be a name. Okay, so that I can provide details dollar details. Okay, details, and I'm going to just print the value. Okay, so I have to use open and closing curly bracket and echo, and here I have to print the key. Okay, because these are key then value. Okay, so these are the key. Okay, it's a key. I'm going to use the key and concatenations. Okay, and here again I'm going to use the concatenation, and value will be details. Okay, details here, and every time I have to go through the next line, so I'm using a beer tag, saved it, I'm going to run it. Okay, so let me put a space, name is equal to not and, saved it. Okay, let me change the sign also. Okay, this is the correct. Okay, so we can see that name has been printed, name as a Raju, age is equal to 29, gender is equal to male, and email address is this is the one. Okay, so this is a way where you can use like a associate array in for each. Okay, so thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our next lecture. Hey guys, welcome back in this episode about PHP break and continue. Okay, so first we are going to learn the break. Okay, so break is just a statement. It used to break the execution of a code. Okay, like we'll use a for, while, do while, switch. Okay, and for each loop. So if like we have a statement and you want to break this statement, then we will use this break keyword. Okay, when we will start the code, then we will understand the better way. So here I'm going to use for loop. Okay, so for is a keyword and parenthesis and then opening and closing curly bracket. Okay, here I'm going to put the my expressions. Okay, here's a $I equal to 1, it should be start from 1, and dollar equal to 10, and $I plus plus, it should be increment. Okay, here is one thing, if I'm not going to use the curly bracket, also you can print the statement. Okay, let me show you. $I, then I use the break tag, and here saved it and going to run it, and we can see that the value has been come out. Okay, so what will be the like a disadvantage if you use the another like if statement or another loop inside this, then we need to use the curly bracket. Okay, so I'm going to use this curly bracket for the safe side. Okay, here and here. So after this, what I want to print the value till 5 only. Okay, so here I'll put a condition as a if statement. If $I equal to 5, then what will happen? So it should be the break. Okay, it should not be print after that. Okay, so going to save it and run it, we can see that it has been printed successfully. Okay, so after this example, we are going to use the for each. Okay, by using the array. So here I'm going to use a array. So array is just like a, we will use one variable and we can store a multiple value by using the array keyword. Okay, so let me show you. Here is our like $num is a variable, and I'm going to use the array keyword, and here I'm going to store the value like in the string. Okay, 1 then 9. Okay, then here I have to put the 90, here 60. Okay, here I'm going Alex. Okay, Alex, and it's going to just zoom out. Okay, so just going to zoom out. I think this is a perfect now. And here after this I'm going to do that. Here I'm going to use a for each. Okay, for each. Here I will take this variable that I've created as a num. Then I will use as, then any name that I can provide for this when I'm going to take the value from this, okay, as a reference. So here I'm putting the number, okay, and after this opening and closing curly bracket. So here I have to put like if statement, if dollar number equal to, it should be equal to like a 60. Okay, so I'm just going to put in the 60. Okay, 60, and here opening and closing curly bracket, and after this I'll use the break. Okay, break keyword, and after this I want to print the like a statement. Okay, so here I'll use the after this echo and dollar number. Okay, and here I'll use the break tag for the next line. Okay, and going to save it and run it. Let's see. So what happened if I have mentioned the 60, it has printed only the 3 value. Okay, 1 9 90. Okay, so let's change something here. I have mentioned as 6. Okay, so I'm going to, as I mentioned, 60. Okay, but I'm not using the caps locks here. So let's see. So what happened, it is a case sensitive. Okay, so just because of that, it has been goes to the like the infinitive, whatever the value that we have in our array, it will print everything. Okay, so always if you are putting the conditions, so it should be to provide the correct value if you are checking something in our array. Okay, so like if I'm using here allies, okay, and printing the value. Okay, 1 2 3 4 value, this is 1 9 19 60. Okay, so it arrays always start with 0 1 2 3. Okay, so this is the reason it has been printed only a 60, whatever the last value that has been we have provided here. Okay, however we have used like a in the last example that as a integer. Okay, because we are not using a array here, but here we are using the array. Okay, so thank you so much. And you, so in this video you are going to use the continuous statement. So it is just to use to continue the loop. Okay, it continues the current flow of the program. Like if you want to skip the remaining code at the specific conditions. Okay, so we are going to use, okay, so let's see the example here. Here I'm going to use a to loop. Okay, for loop I'm going to use. Okay, but here I'll use a to loop. First I'm going to use a for. Here I will take the value dollar I, okay, equal to 1 and dollar I less than equal to 5. Okay, and then dollar I plus plus. Okay, and here I'll use opening and closing bracket of curly, and after this I'm going to use the for loop and dollar j equal to, it should be start with 1 and dollar j less than equal to 3 and then dollar j plus plus. Okay, and here what I'm going to do that, here I'll put the condition. Okay, so first I'll use the if statement, if dollar I equal to dollar j. Okay, here I'll use a continue keyword. Okay, here I will write this continue keyword. Okay, and after this I'm going to print the both value, okay, I and j. So here echo $I space $j. Okay, so I have to use a concatenation, okay, here, and after this I'm going to echo to break my statement as a BR tag and separate. So what will happen? Okay, it is equal, already we have a same condition for this, okay, but what I want to change something. If these are, okay, so let me make it also a 5, okay, so if I'm going to put the condition not, okay, so it is equal, then it will continue, okay, so this is the same 4, but I want to change something. If it is I is not equal to j, then it should be continue, because we have already the same value and same condition in the both, okay. So let's start, save it and run it, okay, because here you put the condition this is not equal to, okay, then it should be continue, okay. So if I'm going to remove this, save this, okay, and this will something happen, because we are using a first 1 2 3, then it will print for this one, print this loop, okay. So this will something, but if I'll print not, it will change something, because we want a continue, whatever the condition should be not equal to the for in the both loop, okay. So this was for the first example. Now we are going to use a for each, okay. So here I'm going to delete this one, okay, and here I'm going to take a same variable num, and here I'm going to use the array keyword, and inside this I'll take Rajiv, then Mohan, then Alex, and John, Rahim, okay. So I have value inside my array. After this I'll using a for each loop, and here $num as a $number, okay, and here I'll use if statement here $number equal to Alex, okay, Alex, then here it should be continue, okay, and after this I have to print the statement echo, and then I am going to use a $number and break it, saved it, and going to run it. Okay, something has been missing, okay, so I'm using string, so I have to put the here double quotes for this, saved it and run it, okay. So if it is equal to Alex, okay, so it will continue, okay, however in the break it will break, okay, it will only calculate the Rajiv and Mohan, because the 0 at the 0 indexing that is a Rajiv, and in the 1 indexing that is a Mohan, okay. So this was the example for a continue by using the for each, okay. So thank you so much guys, and we will meet in our